it's been a positive grind for us with a short-term focus on every game, whether it be a Friday, Saturday, same opponent, which we've done a couple times, or even a Friday, Sunday, or regular ECAC play where you have a split opponent. You need to focus on that game, and I really believe that our guys have done an excellent job of that, and we'll be prepared for UConn.
With a midweek game, they're rare. Is it a different preparation after having 2 games over the weekend? You have just a couple days to get ready for the next opponent, physically as well as mentally.
Yeah, we gave the guys a light day yesterday because we want to make sure that we're physically and mentally sharp and ready for the game. That was followed by preceded by a Sunday off after the weekend. So you have the trip, you play. But these guys, they want to play games. Right? These guys want to play games. They want to get after it. As long as we don't beat them down, they will be physically and mentally ready to go.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yeah.
How did you kind of get stuck with that quirk in the schedule in the first place?
Well, there was a little bit of the conversation with UConn as when we wanted to find that game. I don't remember what UConn's schedule is, but for us, we were trying to slide some of these games into the second half of the year so our transfers, those 3 transfers, could get a few extra games. I felt that with 10 freshmen, our second half was going to be better than our first half. So let's slide an extra game in there. That's how it started. And with only 1 game on the weekend, a Wednesday game is not too taxing on our guys.
Yeah, speaking of those transfers, that's something I was going to write about next week, but we can talk about it now. I mean, what have they brought to the table so far? Granted, it's a short stint so far.
What you see is how important depth is in college hockey. It's 3 Division I players that each has a skill set and a gift that they bring to our team. None of them are saviors. But when you add 3 Division I hockey players, now you're adding 3 juniors to a lineup, and it's just given us more flexibility, more depth, and now that we're a few games into it, more consistency with our line pairings, because older generally means more consistent. Not always, but in this case, it's allowed a little more consistency.
Does Union have an advantage that they don't play on Wednesday and they have more time just to prepare on you?
No.
Why do you say that?
I mean, I don't think there's any mind games. I don't think it's Bill Belichick with 2 weeks to prepare. That's not our sport. I think our sport is you've got to do what you do best, and you've got to be aware of what the other team and maybe expose a few areas. But this is not a static starting point in each one. It's a fluid game where the players need to be confident in what you're doing or what your own team is doing. And yeah, I don't think there's any mind games or any advantage. You can look at that both ways. If you were so inclined to say, well, Wednesday you're staying a little bit sharper, and so yeah, I don't think there's any issue there.
The fact that you've beaten Union twice already, how much of an advantage is that for your team?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I don't think it's an advantage or a disadvantage. I think it's something you put in the bank, and you build confidence with it. You know that you've done it before. You know that there's a formula for success, and I also think you know that it's going to motivate the other team. The same, we're going to UConn tomorrow, and they beat us in this building early in the year in a game that we could have won, but we didn't. So now we need to even that score. So a loss should motivate you for the next event.
What will you pull out of those 2 games earlier this year that will be useful this time to point out to these guys?
Everything. I mean, the advanced scout will be face-offs and tendencies and player personnel and areas of the game that we'll watch the goals for, the chances for, the goals against, the chances against, and as well as in our general pre-scout routine, we'll watch their previous 4 or 6 games. So there's not going to be any surprises coming into the game, and we should know what they're trying to do. And again, as I've mentioned, the important thing is that we do what we're trying to do, and that's the beauty of the game.
What do you take away from last weekend and very high-scoring wild game against St. Lawrence, and then you guys played a very good Clarkson team pretty tough before they got away.
I thought our good was really, really good last weekend. The Friday night, we made a couple big mistakes that ended up in the back of our net. Could have been a different outcome. Could have been, a 6-2 game, 5-2 game. Probably would be a coach's preference rather than make a couple of those big mistakes. Clarkson, again, I think we had a really good demeanor. We gave up the first goal. We came back. We take a lead. We're talking about very small areas of focus right now, which is, if we win or tie the special teams game on Saturday, it's a different game, right? But we lost that one 2-0, so that's a difference.
With this game Saturday, the Mayor's Cup, it'll be your second one. What do you think this game means to this area, for the hockey fan?
Well, I think there's such a great overall history of hockey in the Capital Region, and right now with no pro teams here, this is the top of the iceberg. This is the tip of it, and young people that play hockey, this is what they should look towards and say, hey, I want to play in that venue, in that setting. You get 8,000-10,000 people there. It's a ton of fun, and to me it brings together the hockey community. Now on a week-to-week basis, it's them and us, but together right now we're trying to bring the hockey community together to talk about it in the Capital Region. I think it's exciting.
The fact there's not 2 points on the line as far as ECAC standings go, it's still a big deal.
It's a big deal, yeah, and I would say that 2 points in a rivalry series is probably at the bottom of the list for things that are most important. Winning the 2 points come with that. Playing well, playing hard, bragging rights, front page of the paper the next day, the articles that you beat the crosstown rival. I think if you got right down to the meat of it, that's what the guys are going to say.
Mayor's Cup coming up, obviously there's hardware on the line, so just winning a third game would just make it that much sweeter and getting a trophy. So,
do you expect they'll be extra geared up just because you guys swept them earlier this year?
Yeah, I mean it's a huge rivalry, and us beating them twice this year, they're definitely going to be really motivated to bring their best game on Saturday and try and beat us. So we're excited about that, and we're ready as well.
Coach said earlier this year, I think it was after one of the games you guys played Union, that you're playing winning hockey on this team right now. How do you feel like you've been playing this season? Obviously, your assist number speaks for itself.
I mean, yeah, I think my assist numbers are all around a team effort. I mean, our team's looking to make plays, looking to get pucks to the net, and as we continue to do that, goals continue to go in for us. So I think it's exciting. I think we're taking steps every game right now, and I think this last coming number of games, you're going to see us hopefully string a few wins together. So,
Dave said that he wants you guys to play with emotion, but not to cross the line and get emotional when you're playing against Union. As a player, is that tricky to do, or once the game starts, is it easy to put it in the back of your head?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a tough thing to do, but it's something we need to focus on. I mean, there's definitely that fine line of playing emotional, but keeping your emotions intact and staying smart on the ice. And I mean, Union's a big rivalry, so obviously there's going to be scrums in front of the net, and we just have to be smart and focus on the game, play our game.
Just from a hockey standpoint, what's your impression of Union's team?
I think they're a very hard-working team. I mean, they've obviously found a way to be consistently good over the past number of years, and I think we can expect a good systems for them, but we also have our things that we're going to focus on, and ultimately if we play our game, there's no reason we shouldn't come out with a win.
You have an unusual schedule set up this week, having to go to UConn tomorrow. Is that going to have any impact on what you guys are trying to do over the weekend?
I mean, it's another hockey game, and we're going to take it one game at a time, so we're focused on tomorrow, and then once tomorrow's over, we're going to be focused on Saturday, and we're excited about it. So.
And just one last thing, what do you take away from last weekend? You had that kind of wild game against St. Lawrence, and then really played a pretty good battle against Clarkson before they kind of got away from you guys late.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was exciting. That's the first game in a while we've put a lot of pucks in the back of the net, so I think that's really good motivation for our team to continue to shoot and continue to get to the net front, and hopefully we can continue to put more pucks back in the back of the net and get a couple wins here these next two games.
I'm good.